Right, good morning everyone, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. As you would have seen from the intro of this video, I took the cylinder head from the Mini to a local place called EDS, which is in Norwich, just like 10 minutes away from me. I took it in the morning, they had it done about 3 hours later, and the Mini head is now been skimmed. Now, it's the new head that's been skimmed, not the one that was originally on the engine, because as you know, that one had excessive damage. The new one's been skimmed, and I'm going to show you what it looks like now. I'm not 100% happy with it, but I am going to be using it. Let me explain. So here she is. As you can see, she looks pretty clean. I don't know if they cleaned it or anything, but it looks a lot cleaner than when I took it. I was just prepping up the valves, ready to put them back in. I was just cleaning them up and getting rid of all the carbon and stuff. But if I flip this guy over, so you can see the actual machined face. Let me just give it a quick wipe because it's a bit dirty from me touching it. Alright, so here she is. As you can see, it has been machined down. I don't know how much they took off. I didn't actually ask how much metal they took off, but I don't think it's a lot. Now, as you would have seen before, there was pitting around here, I think it was, and there was also some here, and there was also some here. Now, most of it's gone, but there is still some small remnants of it here. On this coolant jacket, which is the one we had an issue with on the last head, there is two tiny little spots. Can you see them? Just there. And on this one, there's a few more little spots just there. Now, they look bad, but to the touch, you can barely feel them. I've been assured by the actual engineering place and also some people on my Instagram, one of which actually does this for a living, skimming the heads, and they all said that it's absolutely fine. There won't be any issues with using this head on the Mini. Now, I've had a lot of people say, oh, I wouldn't use it, I'd get my money back. But without sounding ignorant, a lot of those people don't actually know what they're talking about, the same as I don't. The reason I posted on my Instagram to get an opinion on whether to use this head or not is because I wanted informed opinions. I want people that really know their stuff to tell me whether this is worth using, and it seems like the people that do know their stuff have said that this is perfectly fine to use. So I will be going ahead and using this head on the Mini. Worst case scenario is years down the line it starts to leak again and I have to do a head gasket again. It's really not the end of the world. So we are going to go ahead and use this. I need to get it all built back up. The valves will need to go back in. I've still got to clean the intake valves, but I've cleaned all the exhaust ones. They're all ready to go back in. I've cleaned the seats where they're going to go. And if you can see, I'm going to go ahead and use my valve tool that I took all these out with to put them back in. I'm not going to show you that because it's exactly the same process as taking them out, just in reverse. Once I've put the head together and the valves are in, the camshaft is back in, and also the rockers, we'll take it out to the Mini and we can actually start getting this rebuilt today. I've come out here nice and early to give me plenty of time today to get the head on, get the head gasket, and get as much done as I can today. If all goes well, I possibly may even be starting the engine by the end of the day. So let's get cracking and see what we can do. Right, so just in case you're curious as to how I'm cleaning up these valves, as you can see, I'm chucking them up in my drill and then spinning them around, obviously with the drill, and then using just a piece of Scotch-Brite and just sort of holding it on there, cleaning them up, getting them as clean as I can. They're in pretty good condition and the seats are good. The valve seats are also good, so I'm not re-grinding them. I'm just cleaning them up and then putting them in afterwards. There you go, if you can see that, that's the first one cleaned up. That should come out really nice. Clean the face of it as well. Plenty good enough to use again. Then I'm just slotting them in. I'm using a little bit of this assembly lube, the Lucas stuff that I got. I'm sticking that in the new valve seal a little bit just to lube it up, sticking them in, and then I'll do all the springs afterwards. So although it's quite self-explanatory, I will just quickly show you what I'm doing to put all this back together. You see me put the valve seals in. I've also gone ahead and put all of the valves in, intake and exhaust. And it's literally just a case of putting the spring, so grabbing one of these, putting it on top of the valve like so, compressing it down, and then inserting those little, what I now know are called collets, thanks to about 10 million comments on my last video. I can't even remember what I was calling them, but apparently these are called collets. You just stick these back in the right way up onto the valve stem. They are tapered in a certain direction, so you have to get them the right way. Once you put them on, you let go of the tool, and that's what you get right there. So I'm going to do the same to all 16 of these. I'm not going to bore you with that, and I'll bring you back when I'm done. Right, so a little bit of time has passed since I last filmed. I have put all of the intake valves on, and I've put all the springs on, and all the collets are now on as well. I'll just quickly show you that. As you can see, they're all situated in the head. All looks good. Now, I've had a little bit of a change of heart when it comes to the exhaust valves. That's the smaller ones, these ones here. I've decided that I'm actually going to lap or grind, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to lap the valves inside the head, because on the valves themselves, I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this. I'll try. But you can see that there is sort of a little bit of pitting / corrosion right where they seat, right there. And so I think that they need lapping. The actual head itself looks fine. The surface of the head looks okay, but the surface on the valves, I think they could do with a little bit of lapping. Now, I've already done a couple of them myself. I've done the one this end, and I've also done the one the other end, and I'm just going to work my way across. I got this stuff here, which is something my dad gave me ages ago. It's grinding paste for valves. You've got coarse on one end, so there's a tub there of coarse stuff, and then you've got fine stuff in there. This stuff stinks. I don't know if it's even like in date anymore, but I'm using it anyway, and it worked well on the two that I have done. I'll just maybe quickly show you one that I have done so I can compare them. So the one on the right has been lapped. It's not perfect, but you can see the difference between that one and the one on the left. There's a bunch of build up and a bunch of corrosion on it, so it's definitely worth doing. I think it's only going to make an improvement. I can't make it really any worse. So I'm going to go ahead and tackle the rest of these. It's a little bit time consuming, but the reason I'm telling you this is because I did want to show you a quick little way of doing it that I've found that is not the proper way, but it's the only way I can do, because you're supposed to use a special tool to lap valves. It's like a stick, and on the end it's got two separate plungers, like a sink plunger type thing, like a suction cup. You put that on the end of the valve, and you sort of rub your hands together like you're starting a fire, and that grinds the valve. Where I haven't got one of them, or I have, but I can't seem to find it anywhere. I've rummaged through all my tools, made an absolute mess of my shed, can't find it, don't know where it is. So kind of an ingenious way of doing this. Let me get it set up, and I'll show you what I've been doing to do it. So I'm using the coarse paste first, which is this one here. I'm just putting a little bit on the valve, like so. Just give it a little coating. It's quite grainy, quite sandy, this stuff, which is good obviously for cutting metal. So that just looks like that. I then stick the valve in the actual head, if I can see what I'm doing. I stick that in there like so, so that it's sitting in the head. And then that's where this thing comes in, my cordless drill. I'm sticking it on there and then spinning it with the drill whilst pushing on this side with my fingers. It's kind of hard to, maybe I'll try and show you me doing one of them, but I found that it works really well. Having the drill makes it easier, so you don't have to rub your hands together and stuff. Anyone that's lapped valves before might have even used this method. I'm not entirely sure if I've like created this. This might be a way of actually doing it, but it seems to work. So I'm going to carry on. I'm going to do the rest, the other 6. I think there's 6 left to do on the exhaust side, and I can put the springs on. So this is after literally just what you've just seen. I haven't actually done that much to this one so far, but you can see a lot of that pitting is already gone. So I'll probably hit it a couple more times and then hit it with the fine stuff, and that should be good to go then. Right, so far so good with the head rebuild. I've managed to get everything back on, as you can see. All the valves are in with their springs and their collets. I've managed to put the camshaft in, the camshaft bearing caps are also in, and I've also got the rocker arms in here. I've just lightly done them down with my little impact gun, just screwed them down. I haven't impacted them or anything. So I'm now going to tighten these up. I've looked in my Haynes manual, and that is the sequence right there of doing it up. So you do like a spiral pattern like that, and they get done up to, where is it? Camshaft bearing / rocker arm shaft bolts, 30 newton meters. So I've got my torque wrench, my little 3/8 torque wrench, Sealy one, set to 30 newton meters. Just about see that. Set to 30. I'm going to do it in the pattern and get these all tightened down. Right, there we have 30 newton meters all the way around. That is the head, I think, completely put back together. Right, so with the head now fully rebuilt, I'm just going to quickly have a tidy up of my shed because it's an absolute mess in here, as you can probably see. I always make a mess when I'm working in here. So I'm going to have a quick tidy up, get myself reorganised, and then I think we'll be ready to go out to the Mini and start putting this engine back together. Both surfaces are clean, the block is clean, the head is clean, and all that can mean is that the engine can go back together. I'm going to sling the new head gasket on here, but I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get this Mini engine finally back together.